Alt season. It's the moment when altcoins go absolutely crazy, when 10x, 50x, even 100x gains happen for some coins. Here's the big question. When is alt season coming? Are we standing right in front of another massive run right now? Well, I have 5 massive signs that says alt season isn't just coming, it might already be here. And trust me, you're gonna wanna hear every single one of them. Because if you don't, you'll be the guy looking back in 6 months thinking, wow, I should have paid attention. So let's start off with the heartbeat of the crypto world, the market cycles. If you've been in crypto for a while, you will know the deal. Money flows where it's least restricted, moving through the markets in predictable phases. Let me break it down how previous market cycles have played out. Usually it starts with Bitcoin. It's the big boss, the OG, the one that everyone focuses on, or at least most people do. When Bitcoin starts climbing, it sucks up all of the liquidity. Everyone's scrambling to get a piece of the action, and the market focuses on Bitcoin. This is phase one. Money flows into Bitcoin, driving it to all-time highs, like we've seen in the past. But here's the thing about Bitcoin. It doesn't pump forever. At some point, it starts to plateau, and when that happens, money starts moving elsewhere. Ethereum isn't just another cryptocurrency. It's the backbone of DeFi. When Bitcoin cools off, Ethereum usually steps into the spotlight. Why? Because Ethereum is the bridge to the rest of the crypto ecosystem. It's where developers build, where DeFi protocols thrive, and where the real innovation is happening. Historically, when Ethereum starts outperforming Bitcoin, it's a major signal that we're transitioning into alt season. Right now, Ethereum holders are in maximum pain, and that is a great sign. They've been watching Bitcoin outperform Ethereum for months, and they've been confused. Could it be their turn next? Well, I'm going to get into that, so stick around. Here's how it's played out in the past. Once Ethereum starts dominating, money begins to flow from Ethereum into large altcoins, or large cap altcoins like Solana, XRP, and even things like Cardano. These are the safe bet projects with strong fundamentals and massive communities. But then as the mania builds, the money starts to move down into mid caps and small cap altcoins. That's where the real fireworks happen. If you haven't experienced this before, you're in for a ride. By the end of the cycle, you get meme coins and micro caps pumping purely on hype. It's absolutely insane, but that's alt season for you, and it's really, really fun. Now, let's take a look at where we are right now. Bitcoin has been dominating, and we might be seeing the first signs of consolidation. Bitcoin has been outperforming everything for months now, and suddenly, even though all of this bullish news around the ETFs and the US government is piling in, Bitcoin has slowed down and has remained stable at around $100,000. And right now, Ethereum holders are struggling. Beautiful. But this is strange. We're also seeing some big moves from other major players like Solana and XRP. Even your low cap projects and meme coins have had huge rallies, while Ethereum hasn't even moved. It's not even at all-time highs. Even projects within the Ethereum ecosystem like Aave and Chainlink are already outperforming Bitcoin. This could mean we are in a very strange phase overlap, something that hasn't really been seen before. We're in a transitional period where Bitcoin, Ethereum, and large cap alts are competing for dominance. It's not the norm, but crypto rarely plays by the rules. So the question is, what happens next? Have we entirely skipped Ethereum this time around? Are we on the brink of a full-blown alt season? or is this just a false start? That's what we're trying to figure out here. And trust me, the indicators we're about to dive into will make things absolutely clear. But if you want to see what altcoins we're buying in our portfolio and when we're going to be selling, then check out the sale for learningcrypto.com in the description below. All right, let's talk about the crypto buy signal, one of the most fascinating indicators out there and possibly a crystal ball for predicting alt season. If you've never heard of this before, listen up, because this is the kind of tool that helps change how you see the market. The crypto buy signal is an aggregated market view that tracks metrics like the total market cap of altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and compares that to Bitcoin's performance. It's a kind of oscillator that swings between 0 and 1, giving us a snapshot of whether the market is favoring Bitcoin dominance or starting to lean towards altcoins. The charts we're looking at breaks this down beautifully. You've got the gray line representing Bitcoin's performance and the gold line, which is the altcoin signal. When the alt signal is rising faster than Bitcoin, that's your green light for altcoins, and according to the indicator, the market is telling us it's ready to pump liquidity into alts. Let's break this down with a few real-world scenarios. Scenario 1. Both Bitcoin and the alt signal are going up. This is your classic bull rally. Everyone's winning, from Bitcoin maxis to altcoin degens. In this case, all market caps are climbing and Bitcoin dominance is either steady or slightly falling. If you see the alt signal outpacing Bitcoin, it's time to bet big on alts. This is where alt season begins to brew. Scenario 2. Both Bitcoin and the alt signals are going down. This is a downtrend market, plain and simple. Whether you're holding Bitcoin or altcoins, the market is bleeding out. In this case, you're better off de-risking and allocating more into stablecoins or blue chip cryptos, or just waiting for the bear market to pass. Scenario 3. Bitcoin is going down, but the alt signal is going up. Now, this, my friends, is rare, but when it happens, it's worth paying attention. This is where we find our alt season. Bitcoin might be losing steam, but altcoins are finding ways to outperform. If Bitcoin is tanking too aggressively, this could be a great moment to go risk on and focus on alts. Scenario 4. Bitcoin is going up, but the alt signal is going down. This usually happens pre-halving or the start of a bull market. Bitcoin is the star of the show here, sucking up all of the liquidity and attention. It's not altcoin season yet, but this could be a great time to start accumulating altcoins for when the tide eventually shifts, which it will. Now, if we look at the current chart, things get even more interesting. Right now, the alt signal is hovering near the critical buy zone, while the Bitcoin signal is hovering near the sell zone. Historically, when this signal enters this territory, it's been a precursor to massive altcoin rallies. We've seen this pattern play out in previous cycles, where an uptick in the alt signals have perfectly aligned with the beginning of alt season. So here's the takeaway. The crypto buy signal for alts is blinking green right now. The stars are aligning, and if history is any guide, alt season could be closer than we think. All right, let's dive into the deep end of the crypto ocean and do some whale watching. Whales are the individuals or entities that hold big chunks of a particular cryptocurrency. For Ethereum, a whale typically holds between 1,000 and 10,000 ETH. These are the ones that have the power to make waves in the market by influencing price movements with their substantial holdings. If you want to learn more about that, check out the video we did on long-term holders. That is a banger of a video. Now, why should we care about what these whales are doing? Because their actions often serve as an indicator for market sentiment. When whales start accumulating ETH, it's a strong signal that they anticipate future price increases. Think about it. These are usually savvy investors with access to a lot of resource and information. If they're buying, it's worth paying attention. Recently, there's been a notable uptick in whale activity. In the past week alone, whales have accumulated over 330,000 ETH. That's a pretty strong confidence signal there. On top of this, a new set of 13 addresses holding at least 10,000 ETH has emerged, suggesting increase in institutional and whale interest in Ethereum. And of course, we have BlackRock and World Liberty Financial accumulating ETH in huge numbers, which you can hear about more in our previous video, where we talk about the potential threat to Ethereum that no one is talking about. Historically, accumulation like this often happens before significant market movements. So what does this mean for us? The current trend of whale accumulation could be an indicator of a broader market rally, especially for altcoins. If history is any guide, the whale's confidence in Ethereum might indicate that alt season is on the horizon. It's a compelling signal that shouldn't be ignored. So let's take a look at the Relative Strength Index, or RSI. It might sound a bit technical, but trust me, it's one of the most unappreciated tools for spotting alt season before it blows everyone's minds. So what is it? The RSI is basically a momentum gauge that tells us whether an asset is overbought or oversold. It shows a number between 0 and 100, above 70 overbought, below 30 oversold. Pretty simple, right? But we're not just looking at any RSI here. We're talking about the Bitcoin ETH RSI, a head-to-head comparison of Bitcoin's strength versus Ethereum's. When the RSI is high, Bitcoin's dominating. But when it drops low, that's Ethereum quietly sneaking up, gearing up to take the spotlight. And I don't think anybody thinks that right now, which is a very good sign. Now look at the chart in front of you. What do you see? RSI is scraping the floor, sitting down in the 30s. Translation, Ethereum's been getting wrecked by Bitcoin lately. It's oversold, overvalued, and likely prepping for a comeback that could flip the entire market narrative on its head. This happens all the time. Let me hit you with some historical context. In 2017, the BTC-ETH RSI hit similar lows just before Ethereum went on an absolute rampage, taking the market along for the ride. That was one of the craziest alt seasons ever, and it was epic. People were turning pocket change into retirement funds back then. That was amazing. We had a lot of fun. In 2020, the same story. RSI dipped, Ethereum popped off, and suddenly everyone was piling into Ethereum and altcoins like there were no tomorrow. Right now, Ethereum is in the discount bin relative to Bitcoin, but this probably isn't going to last forever. If ETH starts making moves against Bitcoin again, you better believe the rest of the market will follow. Stick around because the next indicator might just seal the deal for you. Now it's time to talk about Ethereum's exchange Netflows. It's not the most well-known indicator, but it is very telling. It can tell us exactly what's brewing in the market. So what are exchange Netflows? Let me break it down. When ETH flows into exchanges, it's usually a sign that investors are getting ready to dump. Why else would you send your ETH to a centralized exchange? On the other hand, when ETH is being pulled out of exchanges and into private wallets, it's a massive clue that holders are prepping to hodl or even gear up for some DeFi action, the degens. Now, take a look at this chart. Red bars mean ETH is leaving exchanges. People are hoarding, locking up supply, and effectively taking sell pressure off the market. And what about green bars? That's the opposite. ETH is flooding into exchanges primed for liquidation. Here's where it gets really interesting. Recently, we saw a sharp spike in exchange outflows, over 367,000 ETH in just one day. That's the highest amount since June 2023. These kinds of outflows in the past have been very bullish, signaling that whales and institutions are locking up ETH for the long haul. But, and this is really important, we've seen these kinds of massive outflows over the past few weeks. I'm talking billions of dollars worth of ETH pulled off exchanges. This is good news. These flows are market sentiment in real time. When ETH flows out, it shrinks the supply sitting on exchanges, which means less sell pressure and often leads to price spikes. But when ETH flows in, that's when you might want to tighten your seatbelt because a dump might be incoming. So where are we right now? Well, if this indicator is anything to go by, it's looking pretty good for Ethereum holders right now. And this trend of huge outflows hints that smart money is still holding on tight. Let me remind you, this isn't just data for geeks. This is your roadmap for what is coming next. If you're not watching Netflows, you're missing one of the biggest tells in the market. But now let's get into the final indicator and one of the most interesting. The Altcoin Season Index. It's as straightforward as it is brilliant. It looks at the top 50 cryptocurrencies, including stablecoins and asset-backed tokens like Tether, Liquid Staked ETH, and Wrapped Bitcoin, and checks how many of them are outperforming Bitcoin over the past 90 days. If 75% of these coins beat Bitcoin's return, boom, it's officially alt season. Anything below that, Bitcoin still dominates. Right now, the index is sitting at 49, pretty much right in the middle. Not quite Bitcoin season, but not quite alt season either. What does that tell us? It tells us that the market is in limbo. It doesn't know which way to go right now. Bitcoin's been dominating for a while, but altcoins are starting to claw back. It's the classic tug of war between Bitcoin dominance and altcoin euphoria. But here's the thing, we're close to a breakout. Historically, when the index hovers around these levels, it's often the calm before the storm. It's like the market is holding its breath, waiting for a spark to ignite the big move. Let's get a little speculative here, because that's where things get fun. The last time we saw the index hanging around these neutral levels was in early 2021. And what happened next? Ethereum took off, DeFi exploded, and altcoins went absolutely parabolic. You know the saying, history doesn't always repeat, but it does often rhyme. Now consider the current market conditions. Ethereum is showing some signs of life, whale accumulation is on the rise, and Bitcoin's dominance is starting to stall out. Add to the fact that several altcoins like Solana, XRP, and Aave are already outperforming Bitcoin in recent months, and you've got a recipe for a potential altcoin breakout. So all the pieces are coming together. The signals are lining up, and if you're paying attention, you're ahead of 90% of the market right now. But don't just take my word for it. Do your own research. Look at the charts, dig into the data, and make informed decisions. This market doesn't reward the lazy. It rewards the prepared. Now, are you ready for what's coming? Because our members at learningcrypto.com are definitely ready. We've been accumulating like crazy for over a year now. And if you want to know when we're buying and selling, then check out the sale that we're running in the description right now. And remember this, the market waits for no one. The opportunity is here. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Peace out.